Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Crypto talk with Thomas G.
Yeah, dog.
Bringing heat, mining sprees, and we're farming all around, including E.
Yeah, dog.
Bringing heat, mining sprees, and we're farming all around, including got me on Avex and bought me some Joe. Farming go crazy, you know how it goes. Zoopy on Phantom, I got a few notes. Sticking my regs, you know I'm gon' hold. Getting these calls from the dog pound. Buy my dot for the next round. Now I'm coming up off the compound. Got my drip off the rebound. Getting these calls from the dog pound. Buy my dot for the next round. Now I'm coming up off the compound. Got my drip off the rebound. Crypto talk with Thomas G.
Yeah, dog.
Bringing heat, mining sprees, and we're farming all around, including E.
Yeah, dog.
Bringing heat, mining sprees, and we're farming all around, including E.
Yeah, dog.
Bringing heat, mining sprees, and we're farming all around, including E.
Woo!
All right. Welcome to R2R Live, episode 137. Please, if you're over on YouTube, smash the like button, post notifications, you know the drill, subscribe. If you're over on X, aka the Freedom of Speech platform, shout out to Elon Musk, follow and retweet. And always remember, I'm not a financial advisor for Dancer, not a professional. This is cryptocurrency. If you don't do your own research, don't ever, well, you got to do your own research, and don't ever allow an influencer or any social media platform out there to influence when it comes to cryptocurrency. You could get wrecked. Now that we got that out the way, it's time to celebrate. Why are we celebrating? Why on God's green earth would we be celebrating? Why? Why? Ask yourself, why? Because Pulsechain just got saved. Pulsechain just got saved. I'll say it again. Pulsechain has just been saved. What do you mean? Let's get to the chats. What up, Cyphex? Woo! Yeah, hey, you know what? You know what? You're right, man. This we gotta bring Jerome in the house. We got a new. Let's hit the excitement though. Hey, we got more. We're gonna put Carlton. We're gonna put Carlton. And last but not least, let's get Jerome in the house.
I think you're wrong in the house. Watch your mouth without a doubt. Jumping on the ground.
Hey, it is what it is, and it's a good day for Pulsechain. Why? Well, listen, I know there's a lot of you pDAI people out there. You become maxis. You're friends with Sami, but if you're friends with your friend Tommy G, Thomas G, you're gonna know that I've been saying I figured something out recently that I was no longer on the fence, neutral about pDAI, and I've been telling you it was coming. The climax was coming. I even was nice enough to send out a tweet. Right? I gave the advance warning. When did I give this advance warning? Let's go down. April 15th, 1 day ago, your friend Tommy. A major flaw on Pulsechain will soon be exposed, causing massive sell pressure. The ecosystem will go through a cleanse and prevail in the end. Hold strong. It's not their fault, but the sheep may become lions someday. And I'll show you how the sheep can become lions. But shout out to the Pulsechain savior, Katrina Weber. Waffle Weber? Weefle Wiper? Wifer Waffle. Katrina, K Katie, at K Katie, at K underscore Katie. Right? Well, how did one save Pulsechain? Well, here's the thing. A lot of you guys invested heavily in pDAI, and I don't blame you for a narrative that's, could potentially mean it's going to go to $1 and you can buy it under, for pennies, fractions of a penny. Who wouldn't take that bet? But the desperation became so strong that although right in front of your face, the extractor, right, was not exploiting the system. It's not an exploit. PMaker was functioning as coded, right? What does Big Whale Pulsechain say? Show me the code. Show me the code. Send it, right? Super thin. Super thin, right? So show him the code. Show anyone the code. It's not an exploit. It was being used as it should be, as it was meant to work. However, it was a bad actor. The narrative was so strong. The overinvestment was so massive. And the ability to set your emotions apart from reality and then the risk of that reality versus the reward. You were watching in real time people say, I gotta believe it's a good actor. Although he was selling pDAI and extracting from Pulsechain over to Ethereum. Now, here's how the chain got saved, right? The joy was going to hit zero was the big narrative I've been talking about. If you've been following me on live, I've been saying that in the middle of April, this would come to a conclusion. And that conclusion was joy either gonna fail or was joy gonna work? Joy working was joy going down to zero, which gave the ability for that extractor, for that very person who people thought was Richard Hart behind it. It's not the what do they call him, the big dong kid from Thailand, wherever he's at, from Vietnam, right? They really trolled it, turned it into a joke to flip the script on what people were saying. Who knows if it's some Vietnamese kid? I don't know, man. But I know it wasn't anything to do with Richard Hart, because now that one individual who was being not benevolent right in front of your face, who was supposed to be a good actor for the pDAI community, when this opportunity came to take over MakerDAO by accessing the majority of the Maker tokens to be able to call the necessary functions to begin the process of burning and pegging pDAI, was intercepted. We had a Deion Sanders type play happen. I'm talking primetime Deion Sanders came through, intercepted the ball from we visually saw this person being a bad actor on chain, but people ignored the on-chain evidence because of the emotions and because of the overinvestment. Look, all of us overinvest, and we're just in disbelief and say, no, this has to be part of a bigger plan. Deion Sanders in this case happens to be a woman, and probably a team of people too as well, who is K_Katie, head of the development for XUSD. XUSD. We've seen it around the block before, right? It is a stable token of its own. It wants to get $2. But you got to think here. She intercepted the ball in the end zone. In the end zone. And if that had been Richard Hart, who didn't catch the ball like they were saying, or somebody that's affiliated with Richard Hart and gets intercepted by Katrina Weber, do you really think it was somebody that was of these like had this crazy speculative narratives all around and driven around it. High IQ ability to do that and get intercepted in the end zone. Now, I've been saying 99 Capital is going to pivot. He's going to pull something out of his back pocket. I used to believe everything he said until the voting happened. All-time high, 3-cent pDAI. The vote failed. And it was like the day it failed, reached into his pocket, came out and said, well, this is the new plan. He's already pivoting. But it's not going to work. The reason why Mrs. Weber, Katie, went out full speed, one-handed, intercepted that ball in the end zone was to save Pulsechain. Because although these people saw a bad actor not minting, not exploiting, but being a bad actor in the system of being able to bring out from the system pDAI, large amounts, and sell it and bridge it out of the ecosystem, taking liquidity from our ecosystem, really hurting us. But Dion's like, no, this is prime time Dion save the chain. Because if PMaker got into the hands of this person who on chain showed you was not doing any good service for Pulsechain, had no intentions of getting that much power and doing good deeds with it, it would have allowed this person to have control to continuously, infinitely mint pDAI and dump it on that ass. Now, what did Katie do? She minted a ton of it. She raised the debt ceiling by hundreds of billions. She shot the price down, taking the air out of the believers. She pumped the tropa. She burned a ton of pDAI to further bring out from her hands the ability to sell more and bring down the price, because selling pDAI was going to be a cleanse of bringing down the system. But Dion did the right thing. Dion intercepted the ball. Dion initiated the emergency pause of the PMaker. Right? We're in overtime. But the game's already over. But here's the thing. Mrs. Weber, your friend Mrs. Weber, shout out from your friend Thomas G. Shout out to your friend Sami, friend or foe, whatever you think he is. Now that you know that the XUSD team had the intellect to intercept the ball from an entity that has had this type of power for this many years now and was at the goal line of being able to be the worst thing that could have possibly happened to Pulsechain, and she saved the chain. Now you know who's behind it, who did it. It looks like her and Atropa are working together, right? What do you think is going to happen now? Well, I did something that most people in all of these chat rooms and all these phone calls did. Like, they didn't think you could get enough PMaker to begin with. And I was like, no, that's not that could happen. They didn't think that the extractor was a benevolent whale, a benevolent actor, whale, whatever you want to call him. I never thought so either. But if it got into the hands of the right person, and this person so happened to have their own XUSD stable token to work its way to peg, now the control is in her hands with the biggest narrative of all time. Oh, who saved Pulsechain? Oh, Mrs. Weber. Oh, Mrs. Weber's the head of XUSD. She has the capability of doing that, stopping a long game plot to hurt the system. What do you think happens next? A whole lot of economic energy from their team, a whole lot of intellect, a whole lot of these people know what they're doing, and they saw a vision for XUSD to peg before they saw the vision for pDAI and then figured out that it was broken the system and that this needed to happen. So while all of you guys argued on both sides, right, of anyone having the ability to interact with the maker DAO system to do what the extractor was doing, found out that no one can mimic it. And then you came to the conclusion that no one could intercept the ball in the end zone like this, and that the inevitable was going to happen. It either broke or he achieved it and ruined Pulsechain with an infinite mint ability. She showed you how much could be minted. She showed you that that was true. That was the blockchain statement. True. Could it have been minted to infinity? Yes. Yes. Look how much she raised the debt ceiling. Look how much she printed out of thin air. Burned a lot. Now, Pulsechain is saved. Now, Pulsechain has a savior outside of Richard Hart. Some big brand energy came through and saved the chain. Right? You were really going to think that the person who had been selling the pDAI that it was getting from the auctions and extracting value out of the chain to Ethereum was going to do something nice with all that power? What are you, stupid? No. Now that narrative is dead. Why? Because that person no longer has control. The ball was intercepted. We're going that way now. The ball was intercepted. The game's over. Right? Now, pDAI will still probably have a lifespan within the Atropa web and what's going on. It looks like the stable tokens are going to have some sort of, and we'll go look at the website for XUSD too. We'll take a look at the price here. pDAI 30083. Damn, look at that. Right? USDC is no longer pegged to it. USDT is pegged to it, right? Somehow USDC has broken from that, but there's being support for that token right now. You're going to have to go find out on your own. I can't do everything for you, why that may be happening, what's going on. But pDAI has been broken for a long time. The way that you can mint it, the way that you can a value that was being extracted. So at the end of the day, two tokens are pegged all the way down to this. Now USDC, I don't know the long game of the plan, but what is likely to happen now, I believe, is whoever intercepted the ball, we know who did it. We know who saved Pulsechain. It's now going to be taken a lot more serious when they say, hey, I have XUSD. Let's take a look at the website. We're going to peg this thing to $1. And there's an entire system behind it too, right? There's an entire system behind it where you have like these mint passes. If you have these mint passes, you pay a lower tax when you purchase this. I had to pay like a 6% slippage, even when the traffic got high, 8%. But if you in an R2R, right? You see, when I made this tweet right here, what do I always tell you? Your network is your net worth. I knew who was coming to do this. I knew that they had the ability to do it. So I had been buying. I wasn't sure if they would pull it off. One, I got confirmation that they pulled it off. And if you're an R2R, I said in the chat, all in XUSD. Something just happened. And I told the group this last night, and this could have been you in the group here when I saw it happen, buying. And there was a good window of opportunity buying. And then right now, you're like out of 5X, out of medium pista. So if you want to believe in a narrative for a $1 peg, right? That's great. You got XUSD. At this given time, when it comes to pDAI, it's just a non-pump tires meme token at this point. Will probably still have value, could still have value. You know, that's up to the people who want to keep buying, right? So you got to figure you want to be ahead of the game. You want to be ahead of the next big narrative. Well, first of all, if you want to be really ahead, your network is your net worth. I know people that know people that know people that have made these tweets that close to this happening. And listen, I'll never tell who they are, what and why they tell me, but I have people that tell me things about all sorts of things that are going on different chains. I'm getting some good feedback on Bear Chain too, and I'm start talking about it. Opportunities to make money all over. And I'm glad that I'm in this position, even after the fact that I've left and deleted YouTubes and all that and came back. I still had friends in high places that are in the know. So I'm very grateful for that. That's why links in the description. If you want to join R2R, you see it there. If you want to join the members only, $2.99 a month, buy me thank you, members, for buying me a coffee, by the way. $2.99 a month, get a little bit extra content where I throw these nuggets out there. Now I told my crew last night, all in XUSD. Ball's been intercepted, right? It's like getting a bet in with like betus.com or what is it called? What's the name of the FanDuel? I forget the name of the betting site. It's like getting a bet in right at the last minute of a 12-round fight, knowing that the boxer's going to lose, and you're betting against him on losing to the other guy, and you get to place a fat bet right before it happens, right before the knockout comes. So I would recommend doing your information, doing your research here. When you're at a penny, then you'll be buying, right? You got to read the docs. You got to see how much has been burned, too. Burns, 205,713,804 tokens worth 1.12 million. It ain't waiting for joy. It ain't waiting for joy. It's not waiting for some pretend good actor. It's got a developer who just schooled your boy. If you're a pDAI maxing, your whole narrative on this guy doing what you thought was going to happen when Joy hit 0 just got intercepted. Somebody else has got the ball now, the game-winning ball in her locker room. Okay? She's got the game-winning ball in her locker room right now, holding it up, talking to her team and saying, good job, guys, we did it. Not only did we save Pulsechain, but now that we've been working this long on the next stable token on Pulsechain, the hype is coming. The work that we put in is finally going to pay off. Okay? All eyes on Katrina Weber at @A_Katie. And she's been in the chat telling you guys. Some of you took her serious, some of you didn't. Now, when she talks, you better listen, because she's been telling you, I'm going to do this to save the chain. This person was a bad actor. All of you believed otherwise. She just saved your asses. She just saved your asses. Now, if you're a pDAI holder, and you're friends with Sami and all these other guys that are out there twisting the narrative, stupid pDAI, they just, because Richard called it stupid, but they made it funny and like, like, oh, stupid pDAI. Like, yeah, they buy more stupid pDAI. Like, well, it's not a joke when the whole chain was on the line. But when you have individuals who only care about their bags and a lot about their network around them and have sell walls at a penny, I wonder who did that. After buying a bunch, they didn't have a sell wall at 99 cents, 50 cents, mostly at a penny. You see what happens, you go down with the ship. Now, this is the narrative that I'm going to follow. This makes the most sense. The game-winning ball is in their locker room. The game-winning ball is in the locker room. So read the docs. The Vibe Pass, I don't even know if you can get one anymore. They were mintable at one point. Basically, the buy is like a lower tax percentage. The Vibe Pass has burned a lot of XUSD. Total Vibe Pass burns 33 million tokens. Damn. Wow. And when it hits $1, I heard that you earn passive income for her having a bypass. Isn't that something? Isn't that something how the tables have turned this morning? And you're going to see this continue to go up, right? You're going to see this continue to go up. It's a beautiful thing. But if you went out to R last night, you know what? Shout out to Cyphex. Cyphex is always on it, man. Like, I was up late when I talked about it. And then, like, you know, I told people in the chat, she was in there, all the guys, you know who I'm talking about. You know, we're getting in. And then we're waking up to this, and we're like, dude, this is awesome. You know? Like, the person who stopped the madness has their own stable token. It is working with the Atropa developer who originally was looked at as benevolent, created gains on Pulsechain, looked at as a bad actor, said would come back, bridged out, still people believed in Maria, looks like to be tagging up with the XUSD team. Because what did Katie do? Went and pumped Atropa. I don't have any information if that partnership is real. All I can see is something on chain is going on. So unless she started pumping Atropa without ever talking to Maria, which I highly doubt, I'm sure there was a conversation, right? They now are on the same page where Maria originally from day one wanted to create a liquidity web with our bots, an LP system to help pDAI go to $1. Once Maria found out that it was flawed, Maria started selling and said, I need to salvage this ecosystem by selling, and did it on camera. And we all felt a certain way. Once you see it happen in real time, you're like scammer, you know, he-man, she-man, you know, whatever you want to say. It was hard to watch. Atropa has been renounced. It's going back up. Teddy's a part of that system. A lot of people left Teddy. It's got low LP. I don't know what's going on there. But we saw with the money after dumping the pDAI and then even Maria LP'd some pDAI, we're seeing some things happen here. And I think all roads lead to the Atropa ecosystem still being a part of a potential mechanic behind helping now support XUSD to $1. XUSD had its plan way before this all happened. Now it looks like there could be something going on with the Atropa developer and ecosystem to support that. And that would be a good supporting web now that Atropa was renounced. Now, you know, we've kicked the P maker into a pause frame. The bad actor can't do what he was doing. We can really move forward with Pulsechain now. And this just happened, guys. And it hasn't settled in. There is going to be a delayed reaction. You're seeing, you know, like I said, I told my crew last night, get in, you know, might have 5x since then. That's nothing. The delayed reaction before the crowd figures it out. I went into the space with K4. They're not even talking about this really. They're just like calling pDAI meme coin, which it technically is now. You know, Atropa is going up. But nobody's out there saying, hey, there's a new peg narrative in town that has been there as a competitor, but wasn't the fierce competitor that it is now. Now we got Miss Weber. We're taking her a little bit more serious. Holy smokes. Did you just do something that nobody thought could even be done by the extractor, let alone anybody? Because there was not enough P maker in the ecosystem. The smartest people that you think you know that I heard talking, and I've got nothing against these dudes, they were just wrong. The XUSD team did it. Now that somebody did what Richard Hart even suggested in a tweet, right? He even reached out and tagged the MakerDAO people, you know, the team. Like, you know, do the right thing over here on this chain and do an emergency shutdown. Now that somebody has accomplished that, you know, the speculations out there, I would think people would now speculate, hey, maybe the XUSD team are the people who are really working with Richard. Did he give them some ideas? Have they? I don't know. But people are going to speculate way beyond that she just saved the chain on her own. I'm assuming that is a reasonable assumption at this time. That's a reasonable thought. That's like not far out there as much as the stuff that I've seen that's stuck as far as narratives when it comes to pDAI, right? There's going to be a lot of disbelief. Nine Iron Capital has been the best I have seen outside. He is like the Jordan Belfort of crypto, but better, because Jordan Belfort used to call people and close them over the phone with his voice. Nine Iron Capital has been able to build this community to believe anything he has said all the way up to this point without speaking, anyone hearing his voice, anyone seeing his face. And then his partner in crime, the centralized me, who's, by the way, has an invoice out there that he accidentally like revealed on Telegram with his address. So I was like, that guy should have just disappeared, because now people know like where you live. He probably took that time off to move, I would assume. I don't know how I would know that, but I'm just assuming. Because he was scared. Took some time off, right? Because he did it by accident. So you got these two people, and decentralized me used his voice. We heard his voice. We never saw a face. We're able to build a community of people and drive them this far for 2 years to pull off the, like, this is equivalent. I'm using sports analogies for you guys out there, of when the Seattle Seahawks, when they could have won back-to-back Super Bowls, instead of running the ball, on the 1 yard line into the end zone and winning back-to-back championships, giving the ball to the beast, right? Giving the ball to their star guy to running in the end zone. We know where he does best. They threw an interception like at the 1 yard line, right? This just happened. It just happened. So people are going to have some time to digest it, right? Not a lot of liquidity to sell or buy. There's a lot of big bag holders still. But you got to imagine what happens here when the delay takes its process and people accept that what happened. pDAI is officially a meme token. It no longer has. And now you see these guys pivoting. Oh, we'll fractionalize, this and that. Like, we're at some point, you guys say, you know what, bro? Can you hop on camera and explain this to us? Because I got to see your face. I want to look you in the eyes when you're telling me this shit. Who's going to step up and say that in a community of people that are just a bunch of yes men? Who's going to stand up and be a man and say, look, homie, it's been 2 years. Show me your face, or let me hear your voice. Let me articulate what you're pivoting to on a Zoom call. You don't have to show your face on a Telegram call, something. Because this is just a bunch of keyboard nonsense at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like this somebody has to step up and say, something's not right here. And then you got to look at yourself in the mirror and go, damn, did I really just fall for something who never even spoke to me or showed me their face? Ask yourself. It's okay. We've all been hustled. It's happened to most of us in crypto. But the reality is, your entire narrative has fallen. You're a bad actor who's bad on chain, showing you bad activity that you still believed in, didn't get to take the position he wanted on the MakerDAO and when Joy hit zero. Now you have this crazy debt ceiling, right? There is nothing that you can do about it. I mean, I don't know how else you can get through to these people. I don't know what you could say to them at this point. It's just going to be a process, but it's already been done, right? It's already been done. They're basically like, your house has been foreclosed on. Now they're squatting on the chain with these tokens. or like just get out, like go to what's going to work. Where is that one site where the burrito app where it shows the joy? I don't even know if it's up still. Let me take a look. I don't know. Does anybody have that link? It would show all the information for joy and all that. Maybe homie disappeared. I'll try to look him up on Twitter. Oh, let me see if I can find him. So I can show you that the ceiling has been raised. And we'll just have to find it on Twitter. It's all over. You'll see it all over. I mean, people are posting it all over the place. All over the damn place. Right? Let me go. Oh, let's see. Look at these big bag holders. Massive bags. Will some of them just be airdropped? Don't even know, from the fork. Some of them will start to sell and get whatever they can. The great collapse hasn't started of the actual token. But again, people will still believe, people will still speculate. If you want to be on the right side of history, and my belief, not a financial advisor, like I said, don't let me influence you or anybody out there. This seems to be the play. Mrs. Weber, she shut down MakerDAO. The extractor no longer has the ability to do what was planned. She saved Pulsechain. She dumped a lot of pDAI, and she burned a lot of pDAI. And the narrative is, what I'm following, is she is a founder, chief commander here in charge of XUSD, which has been a stablecoin narrative of having the ability to do that. And if you want, we can go to their docs. Let me see if there's something in their docs here that we can look at. And yeah, you'll probably be able to find here how they plan. They had a whole Genesis phase, bootstrapping phase, right? Where it was mintable. They went through all like bootstrapping, like you would do like with the kind of like a tomb fork, right? When you print out the tokens, they've been through all that. And then they talk about peg control. There's a whole layout on how this system is going to reach a peg, a healthy peg maintenance, everything, right? And the process, all of it's laid out. It's been there for a long time. Now it's a reality on the person's capability of what they just pulled off, saving Pulsechain, and that narrative being stronger than anything. Think of the strength that pDAI has had from no voice, no face, no idea who is who, not knowing if it's Richard, right? Now to knowing, hey, we got somebody who saved pDAI, or who saved Pulsechain, kicked the pDAI bad actor out the game, stopped them from being able to game the system, has her own stable token that she operates with the team, right? There's a face to it. People know these people. And now they're going to have the ability to pull off one of the greatest things of all time. Let's take a look at her last tweet. Before she pulled it off. In uncertain times like this, it's best to protect the chain from potential extraction and keep the tokens you hold safe. Break wrap Pulse LPs with pDAI and PUSDC. Atropo eco tokens with Pulse as well. If good things happen, your tokens go up. If bad things happen, you don't give money away. In both scenarios, it's a win-win for you and the chain. Gambling is fun, but at the point of caution is required for community as a whole. Adrenaline from gambling, whether a token will go up or down, should be sufficient, especially knowing that the token was unfavorable circumstances regarding tech on Pulsechain. The developer, like Richard Hart told you guys. Richard Hart told you guys, right? The community got so damn desperate, they have been leaning on whoever. So you know how 9 Iron Capital doesn't show his face? Big Whale Pulse does. And he don't have a shame. He's no shame in his game, you know? He doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to him what his background looks like, if he looks like he's on drugs, all the speculations out there. he's their voice out there they're clinging to. And to me, I'm like, whatever you guys want to follow, right? And I laugh because he always says, show me the code. I'm like, homie, if you even knew how to read a line of code, I didn't want to start with that dude. But he's one of them. P Maker upgrade in progress. Like, what do you mean P Maker upgrade in progress? It's being upgraded. This guy has no clue what he's saying, but I will tell you, just knowing that, like I said, I've been in the know. She intercepted the ball. She stopped the madness from happening. She saved Pulsechain. And now we can move forward, and XUSD is going to be a part of that process. Whether she decides, like, you know, to salvage pDAI and all the P stables, we don't know that. You can speculate, but once you accept who's going to lead, who's the leading pioneer, what team is the leading pioneer and taking the full charge for the next real decentralized stablecoin on Pulsechain, the only one that has a chance at this point to even make that happen, and the capability is the XUSD guys. Hands down. It is what it is. It is what it is. Believe it or you want, I'm speculating that's the case. But let's look at the price. I talked about the great, cleanse that will happen here. Everything is down right now. Gas is really high. You start to see like the tech behind Pulsechain is not all that great when you realize like how slow and expensive this shit is during all this happening. During the unfolding of this late this morning or early this morning, it's incredible. Pumps down, Pulsechain is going down. I've been talking about this for weeks too, right? Weeks. Preparing my audience that this was coming. The conclusion to pDAI was here. And that the narrative was going to push the price. And it did. 2 zeros and a 3 plus. 2 zeros and a 3 plus. All right? But, you're still going to have guys just going to push the narrative. I'm sure Sami's like, my nipples are pegged, this and that. He's entertaining, but he's not. He's when it comes to blockchain and trading and all that, and really making money for himself or even his audience. He's not that guy, and he wanted to be that guy. This would have been an epic move for him to finally be that guy that made his audience a ton of money, but it's going the opposite direction pretty quick, right? The thing is that most people are going to do to continue to have you buy is just say, hey, this is 5D chess, or like, show me the code. And it's an upgrade, guys. The big guy our age, like Richard Hart, brought up pDAI, saw it backfire, and actually, because he went against his ethos. If he doesn't like a token, he won't mention it because he doesn't want to give it any type of publicity, any type of shine, any type of. That's to him as a form of shilling. During his Christmas audio, he wouldn't even mention Deck Screener because of the tokens that were at the top that he said are all, garbage. So when he finally decided to hit on pDAI to warn everybody, what was happening, he gave you the sauce, said somebody needs to fix it, reach out to the maker people. Katie came and did it. Someone from our chain on her own. But what he did was he mentioned it, went against his ethos, and then they flipped his words and made the narrative stronger. They memed his language of calling it stupid. They started thriving off that. That stupid pDAI, thought it was funny. It was catchy. It was a whole another marketing stunt for them. That's why he never says things. When he finally does, it backfired. We saw it happen in real time. So if he shuts up and doesn't talk about it, like he stopped, right, at a certain point, then he doesn't give them any type of clout, positive or negative. It's all the same. And then what just happens is just the nail in the coffin. Okay? Is the nail in the coffin. So that being said, we get to move on. It's a celebration. It's a celebration. Grab your beers. All right, guys. We've been on this for about 45 minutes. I think you guys get the idea here, right? We now have a new player in town, a much stronger narrative, by the way, much stronger. Definitely is going to be something where it's going to be interesting to watch. You're going to see the crowd shift, right? It's going to be undeniable at this point for people to just say, no, that like there's a face to it. There's a reality. There's a story. There's on-chain evidence. There's intent. There's Maria added to it, who once upon a time was believed to be benevolent, was working its way for pDAI, exited. You know, it's just crazy. OG printer is rewarding XUSD now. Wow, I just found that out. I just found that out. Hold on. Let me take a look at this information here. So it looks like nobody can change the ESM. The burn amount cannot be withdrawn. Yeah, it's a wrap. I'm getting clarification that it is a wrap. Wow. People are in my R2R chat saying that I called the pDAI top of the day. And it looks like, oh, shout out to OG Web Chef. Damn you. Let's see, but I don't understand. You were shilling pDAI, now saying something else. No, I was never shilling pDAI. I was always on the fence of there's some things going on. And I've always been very transparent about that. Like, I don't know if it is or wasn't. I've always been neutral. Like, this could go to $1 and go to 0. So you can never say that about me. It's all on camera. You can go back. I've always said, like, this shit can go to 0. And I always believed that the one thing I got like the most conned on was like the Maria concept, that Maria was going to do it. But this whole P maker thing that came, and then I saw USDC pegged to pDAI, made me want to hop on the fence to be full blown. It's going to $1. But never did I say this is going to $1. All I said was people who speculate make the most money. And people who speculated on pDAI made the most money. So am I a scammer? No, because I never said it was going to $1. I said that if you speculate, you can make money. So with that being said, Shackle Neo, you just got dunked on. I just dunked on homie like back when he, not even on the Lakers, because I think his like ability to dunk and hop in the air was much greater than when he was even a Laker. Back when he was dunking like on Jordan on the Magic, like damn, O'Neal was. Oh man, yeah, I never said pDAI was going to $1. I've talked about the narrative because pDAI has been the biggest narrative on chain for a long time, and I've been on the fence about it for a long time. Up until recently, I have had some information where I was like, it's broken. There's no way. So I've been saying the demise for this for a while. Like nobody knew And then coming up close here, the evidence was starting to show what was about to happen. So I've been letting people know. So as far as like ever shilling it, no. You can't ever say that about me, bro. Like I didn't have no idea if that was going to $1. But what I do know is I speculated that it was going to go up in value because there was enough believers, and that it did. Because when I first bought pDAI, it was on the Pulsechain launch day. Okay. When I went 50 G's into pDAI, right? Like after the SEC case, it was like 4 zeros and a 9 or something like that, 8, 5. And I slowly bought. I was like really nervous. And then when it started to go up, I felt better. But the trend that you see that I speak about with 9 iron is I followed him for a long time on the potential and started to be like, oh, this is information that could be, revealing with the wallets. Every narrative that fell out, especially the nail on the coffin for me was December of 2024. That was like the vote didn't happen. It hit all-time high and crashed. I was like, dude, like, I don't know about this guy. Let's see. Low-key, R2R is good at saying and not saying, but that's just the game of being public in crypto. Otherwise, you pin down and we know nothing lasts forever, not even Bitcoin narratives. Yeah. Shaq O'Neal, a liar. You can say what you want, bro. But if I thought you were a scammer and a liar, I don't think I'd be watching you live. Right? I checked your videos. Yeah, go check them. Because I didn't say pDAI was going to $1. I said it was speculation. So you got dumped on. Let's hit up with the grab your ears out. We got to do for Shaq O'Neal. Anyways, now that we have, I guess, clarity on chain, here's the interesting part. Then the things that come next. We've all seen the video where Richard talks about making a stable token, making a wallet, and then his own nation state. So I still believe and that's why I'm jumping on XUSD because of what Katie just pulled off. I'm thinking either it happens or it doesn't. What has the best narrative now is XUSD. Now we know the wallet's coming. So we have two things that are close to being happening. So I don't know. The wallet could take a year. It could take 2 years. It could take a month, 2 months. It can be done, right? I have to watch the Crypto Wendy show all over again on that interview. Because, if he nails down everything he wanted to do, stable token, wallet, nation state, whatever, shoot, he could be living already where he's going to be creating his own nation state. Then I really feel everything is so close to happening, and good thing towards the bottom, right? Think good thing towards the bottom. I really feel like things are close to happening. And, it's one of those things where, I don't know. We can see things evolve quicker. I can speculate that. The pDAI narrative, it took how many years from launch? The pDAI narrative got strong, I would say, August of 2023. It took a year and a half for us to finally get in a position where we can go from speculation to things have happened for pDAI to come to an end. Is it going to take 2 years for XUSD or anything else to evolve? Because we all heard him on camera talk about stable tokens on Pulse. That's why these narratives are so strong. So I don't know, man. I'm just glad we got this out of the way. Now the PMaker token is shut down, the builders and community now start to create their own peg. protocols. This is going to be fun. Let's see. Always starts with, I'm not a financial advisor. Sure, not a professional. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that dude just like, you got to feel for him because for one, obviously he doesn't like me and he's watching live. Probably somebody who was a pDAI maxi, very upset. Like, you got to understand, I understand the emotions that these people are going through, especially if they lost a lot or the narratives now died. Like, you got to think someone who really believed was going to $1, who believed pDAI was going to $1, feels like they lost millions of dollars because of what just happened. Right? Like, if they had 5 million pDAI, they thought they were going to have $5 million one day. So they feel that way. So when the whole narrative and their hopes and dreams crash and burn, they're not gonna be happy with anybody, you know? Like, if he's mad at me for ever talking about a narrative, he should be damn sure mad at a lot of guys that are talking about it. So, you know, it's just one of those things. Are we in a bear market? Do you have an end of the year hope for a last cycle pump? I speculated for a year that the bear market would be here in March of 2025. That's been like my speculation for a long time. I just think that's the cycle, to be honest. The windows of opportunity for I went over this in a previous live stream or video. I think maybe was the members only? It might have been a public. The windows of opportunity at the bare bottom of like the bare bottom of a bear market, the window of opportunities to purchase Bitcoin at $3,000 was short-lived. And in last months and weeks, it happened, and then it went back up, and then it happened again. It like double bottomed, right? In my first cycle, when it went from the 19, 20,000 down to the $3,400 range. So if we bottom, let's say the bottom's anywhere between 50,000 to 65,000 range or whatever, which would be a pretty wide gap. But let's say it happens there. If it hits 55,000, it may only be 55,000 for a day, and that was the bottom. And then go up and then touch it again for another day, and that was the bottom. So it's so hard to time things, you know, accurately. That's why I always said around March 2025, the bull run will end. And I've given all the all-time highs that happened in 2025, right? And that was my proof that we had a bull market and it ended. But when it comes to Pulsechain, I'm happy because like we've gone through all the pains of the bear market already and all of the FUD, you know, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt. We've had a huge, you know, narrative that's been long-lived for a long time, you know, really just surface and can come to a conclusion that, hey, now it's not going to happen, right? Let's see. I got somebody in my chat talking about how they don't like. That's funny. Let me see real quick. Anyways, don't forget to pound the like button. Don't forget to drop a comment, like and subscribe, post notifications, post it all over X. I think out of a lot of people that stream all the time about this stuff, I've been kind of telling you guys around these time frames of what was going to happen with pDAI. I've been doing it consistently. I've been telling you guys for a long time about the bear market and the times the market's turning. I've been doing this for a long time, guys. No one's made more money than me, and no one's lost more money than me in crypto that I can see out there. I've done it all. It's humbled me. It's made me rich. It's made me poor. It's made me in the middle. It's made me good again. It's made me ups and downs, all of that stuff. So I just recognize a lot of trends that are going on. And the pDAI thing is nothing really new to just like the crash of Luna. You can compare it because of the disbelief that's going to be going on right now. People right now are just not going to accept it. They're going to have hopes, but it is what it is. pDAI is now a regular token as it stands. People were buying so much pDAI in the dip today. Yeah. I saw that, man. I saw that. Look at the wick down here. People are buying it up. These wicks will start to become filled with the solid red, meaning this wick's going to fill first. So the disbelief right now is there. Then it'll drop to 0.0653. It'll run solid there, right? Then you get the people that start to really understand what just happened, because they don't understand yet. This was something that was so unknown to people. They don't understand. Okay, so it's hard to digest. It's hard to believe. It really is. So, once this gets filled down here, people are going to the same thing, disbelief, but you're going to have washed out a lot of the Pulsechain investors that switch to this narrative with the simple facts of hopes because Pulsechain has been down. But it's all part of the process. It's going to be really it's going to be difficult from here. What could you do? This is the part of our journey. None of us wanted this. None of us wanted the SEC after Pulsechain. Nobody wanted the pDAI narrative to not be true. A lot of people disagreed, but when it became so strong, nobody wanted its collapse because on how thick of LP the system became with pDAI. That's how big the narrative became, right? So if it becomes a meme and the community takes it over, I'm betting on someone finding a way to make it happen. It's been a community takeover since day one. And that community takeover took it all the way to 3 cents. It did a 10,000x on chain. It basically did a Pepe and a Shiba in its prime, correct? And it's never going to go back. But at this point, the narrative is a negative narrative, meaning it was a false prophet, meaning the plan is no longer in motion. So you just got to either accept it and move on, or you spray and pray like in Counter-Strike, and maybe something happens. I don't know. But don't forget to pound the like button. Drop a comment. Till next time, we'll do it again. Yeah, dog.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Crypto talk with Thomas G.
Yeah, dog.
Bringing heat. Mining sprees. And we're farming all around, including E.
Yeah, dog.
Bringing heat. Mining sprees. And we're farming all around, including got me on Avex and bought me some Joe. Farming go crazy, you know how it goes. Zoopy on Phantom, I got a few notes. Sticking my Rex, you know I'm gon' hold. Getting these calls from the dog pound. Buy my dot for the next round. Now I'm coming up off the compound. Got my drip off the rebound. Getting these calls from the dog pound. Buy my dot for the next round. Now I'm coming up off the compound. Got my drip off the rebound. Crypto talk with Thomas G.
Yeah, dog.
Bringing heat. Mining sprees. And we're farming all around, including E.
Yeah, dog.
Bringing heat. Mining sprees. And we're farming all around.